Imagine 5,000 drones lighting up the Egyptian sky, forming the image of Tutankhamun floating above the pyramids. As you watch this video, the greatest cultural event of the century is taking place in the Egyptian desert. This is not just another museum opening its doors. This is the moment when humanity finally gets to reunite treasures that have been hidden for millennia, protected by sand and time. The Grand Egyptian Museum has just opened, and what has happened inside in the last few hours is leaving archaeologists around the world speechless. We're talking about artifacts never before seen by the public, mummies of pharaohs who ruled before Rome even existed. And if you think you've seen everything about ancient Egypt, prepare to have your mind blown by revelations that will change everything we know about this civilization. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications because you won't want to miss any details of this journey, and leave a like so that more people can discover these incredible facts that will be revealed here. Because what I'm about to show you will make you question everything you learned in school about ancient Egypt. In the next few minutes, you'll discover why this museum took 20 years to build, what secrets are being revealed for the first time, and how a drone light show became the greatest technological spectacle ever seen in the Arab world. Stay until the end because the last tidbit will leave you speechless. The largest archaeological museum on the planet. The Grand Egyptian Museum isn't just grand in name, it's literally the largest archaeological museum in the entire world. With over 500,000 square meters of built area, it's larger than 50 football fields combined. To give you an idea of its size, the entire Vatican City could fit inside this museum, and there would still be room to spare. Located just 2 kilometers from the pyramids of Giza, the complex was strategically positioned to create a direct visual connection with humanity's most iconic monuments. Construction began in 2002, but faced numerous challenges that delayed completion for more than 2 decades. Political revolutions, lack of funding, logistical issues, and even the COVID-19 pandemic paralyzed the work several times. The total cost exceeded to $1 billion, making it one of the most expensive cultural projects in history. But every penny invested had a purpose: to create not just a museum, but a portal in time that would transport visitors to Egypt 5,000 years ago. The architectural design is a modern masterpiece that engages with antiquity in a spectacular way. The translucent alabaster facade allows natural light to illuminate the interior spaces, creating a mystical atmosphere reminiscent of ancient temples. The glass walls offer panoramic views of the pyramids, integrating past and present in a unique visual experience. The Irish architects at Heneghan Peng won an international competition against 1,557 projects from 83 countries to create this revolutionary design. Inside the museum, there are galleries that stretch for kilometers, specialized libraries, high-tech restoration centers, and even a 3D cinema. The main atrium is 50 meters high and houses a colossal statue of Ramses II, 11 meters tall and weighing 83 tons. This space was designed to accommodate up to 15,000 visitors per day, making it one of the most ambitious tourist destinations on the planet. The infrastructure includes advanced climate control systems to preserve millennia-old artifacts that are extremely sensitive to temperature and humidity. 100,000 artifacts on display for the first time. The collection of the Grand Egyptian Museum comprises approximately 100,000 artifacts, 50,000 of which have never been exhibited to the public before. These objects were stored in warehouses, basements of other museums, or were recently discovered in archaeological excavations. Among them are jewels of forgotten queens, tools used in the construction of the pyramids, papyri with medical and astronomical texts. Each piece tells a different story about how the Egyptians lived, worked, loved, and died thousands of years ago. One of the most impressive highlights is the complete collection of 5,398 objects found in Tutankhamun's tomb. For the first time in history, all of the boy pharaoh's treasure is gathered in one place. Previously, these artifacts were scattered across different museums and repositories around Egypt and the world. Now, visitors can see the solid gold death mask, the ornate sarcophagi, war chariots, musical instruments, and even mummified food that was buried with the king. Among the never-before-seen objects is a collection of funerary vessels made of cedar wood imported from Lebanon 4,500 years ago. These vessels were used to transport the pharaoh's soul to the afterlife, sailing along the celestial river that the Egyptians believed existed in the sky. Archaeologists spent decades restoring these fragile wooden structures, which had disintegrated into thousands of fragments. The result is a perfect reconstruction of what the ships that crossed the Nile at the time of the pyramids looked like. Another unprecedented treasure is the medical papyri that reveal surgical procedures that were surprisingly advanced for the time. The Egyptians performed skull surgeries, treated complex fractures, and even had knowledge of natural antibiotics extracted from plants. Astronomical documents show that they mapped constellations and calculated the movement of the planets with impressive precision. Religious texts reveal secret rituals that were performed only by the highest-ranking priests, offering a window into the deepest spiritual beliefs of this ancient civilization. The drone show that broke world records. On opening night, the Egyptian sky transformed into a giant digital screen with 5,000 drones synchronized in perfect harmony. This spectacle entered the Guinness Book of Records as the largest drone show ever held in the Middle East and Africa. Each drone was equipped with LEDs that changed color instantly, creating three-dimensional images that seemed to float among the stars and the pyramids. The computer-generated choreography lasted 30 minutes and told the story of 7,000 years of Egyptian civilization in a stunning visual narrative. Drones created iconic images such as the 200-meter-high mask of Tutankhamun, the Sphinx walking across the sky, and hieroglyphs that transformed into modern messages of peace. The technology behind the spectacle involved complex artificial intelligence algorithms that calculated the exact position of each drone in real time. Any error could cause catastrophic collisions, but the system worked perfectly thanks to months of testing and simulations. The golden and blue colors of the drones reflected on the faces of the pyramids, creating an augmented reality effect without the need for special glasses. The company responsible for the show was Sky Magic, a drone show specialist that has already produced events for global brands and the Olympics. For this specific project, engineers worked directly with Egyptologists to ensure that each image was historically accurate and respectful. The drones flew in formations representing ancient religious symbols such as the Eye of Horus, the sacred scarab, and the lotus flower. Sounds of ancient Egyptian instruments were synchronized with the aerial movements, creating a unique multi-sensory experience. Thousands gathered around the pyramids to watch the spectacle live, while millions followed via online stream. Social media exploded with viral videos of the show, reaching billions of views in the first 24 hours. This event was not just a celebration of the museum's opening, but a demonstration of the power of modern technology in honoring and preserving the legacy of ancient civilizations. Egypt showed the world that it is possible to embrace innovation without losing the connection to its ancient roots. Cutting-edge technology to preserve the past. The Grand Egyptian Museum uses the most advanced technology on the planet to protect artifacts that have survived for millennia. Climate control systems precisely manage temperature and humidity, maintaining ideal conditions for each type of material. Stone, metal, wood, fabric, and papyrus require different environments, so the museum has specific climate zones for each category. Sensors constantly monitor any variations that could threaten the integrity of the objects, triggering alarms if anything deviates from the established parameters. The display cases are made of special armored glass that blocks 99% of ultraviolet rays, the main cause of fading and deterioration. Inside these display cases, the air is filtered and treated to remove dust particles, pollutants, and microorganisms. Some extremely fragile pieces are kept in chambers with a controlled atmosphere of inert gases, such as nitrogen and argon. This technology is the same used by NASA to preserve space samples, ensuring that the Egyptian treasures survive for thousands more years. The museum has restoration laboratories equipped with electron microscopes, 3D scanners, and state-of-the-art X-ray machines. Conservators can analyze objects at a molecular level without touching them, identifying chemical composition, manufacturing techniques, and even damage invisible to the naked eye. 3D printers are used to create perfect replicas of fragile pieces that cannot be handled. When restoration is necessary, minimally invasive techniques are applied using reversible materials that can be removed in the future without causing permanent damage. A security system worthy of a Hollywood movie protects the collections 24 hours a day. Facial recognition cameras, infrared motion sensors, and thermal scanners monitor every inch of the museum. Climate-controlled vaults house the most valuable objects overnight, transported by automated robots that follow underground routes. The central control room processes data from thousands of sensors, simultaneously using artificial intelligence to detect any threat before it materializes. The mysteries of the royal mummies finally revealed. The Grand Egyptian Museum houses one of the most impressive collections of royal mummies ever assembled in one place. These are the bodies of pharaohs and queens who ruled Egypt more than 3,000 years ago, preserved almost perfectly by the mummification process. Among them are Ramses II, considered the greatest pharaoh in history, Hatshepsut, the woman who became king, and Thutmose III, the Napoleon of ancient Egypt. Each mummy has its own special climate-controlled room, designed to replicate the conditions of the tombs where they rested for millennia. Modern technology has made it possible to perform examinations on these mummies never before possible without damaging them or removing them from their sarcophagi. Computed tomography scans have revealed diseases these rulers suffered from, diets they followed, battle wounds, and even causes of death. Ramses II, for example, suffered from severe arthritis and painful dental infections in the last years of his 90-year life. Hatshepsut had diabetes and died of metastatic bone cancer, contradicting old theories that she was murdered by her stepson Thutmose III. Scientists have discovered that many pharaohs were consanguineous, the result of marriages between siblings to maintain the purity of the royal lineage. This caused serious genetic problems that can be observed in the mummies, such as bone deformities and neurological conditions. Tutankhamun, for example, had clubfoot, a curved spine, and a compromised immune system that likely contributed to his premature death at age 19. DNA extracted from the mummies has allowed the creation of complete family trees of the dynasties, solving mysteries that have puzzled historians for centuries. The Royal Mummy Room is a reverent and quiet space, dimly lit to protect the remains from excessive light. Visitors walk along elevated walkways that allow them to see the ornate sarcophagi without getting too close. Interactive plaques explain who each pharaoh was, how long they reigned, and what their main achievements were. It's an experience that blends respect for the dead with fascination for history, reminding us that these are not just relics, but real people who lived, loved, and ruled one of the greatest empires of antiquity. The true story behind the construction of the pyramids. One of the museum's most groundbreaking sections presents concrete evidence of how the pyramids were actually built, debunking conspiracy theories once and for all. Original copper and bronze tools used by the workers are on display, showing the wear and tear from constant use. Administrative papyri reveal detailed records of work shifts, food rations distributed, and even workers' complaints about inadequate conditions. They were not slaves, as many imagine, but salaried workers who received payment in beer, bread, and special privileges. Scale models demonstrate the ingenious system of ramps and levers used to move 2.5-ton stone blocks. The Egyptians moistened the sand in front of the sleds that transported the stones, reducing friction by half. Modern experiments have proven that this simple technique made it possible to move enormous loads with limited human strength. Sled marks still visible on some stones of the pyramids confirm that this was the primary method of transport, not alien technology or mystical powers, as some bizarre theories suggest. The museum showcases the workers' village discovered near the pyramids, where up to 20,000 people lived during the peak of construction. This community had industrial bakeries, breweries, butcher shops, and even a hospital with evidence of complex surgeries. Skeletons found in the workers' cemetery show that they received advanced medical care, with fractures that were treated and healed correctly. Some tombs contain proud inscriptions that read, "Friends of Khufu," or "Drunkards of Menkaura," showing that the workers had a sense of humor and pride in their work. Mathematical and astronomical calculations engraved in stone demonstrate the sophisticated knowledge of Egyptian engineers. They knew how to calculate volumes, use complex geometry, and align structures with impressive astronomical precision. The Great Pyramid is aligned with the cardinal points with an error of less than 0.05 degrees, something difficult to replicate even with modern technology. There is no supernatural mystery here, just brilliant mathematics, impressive organization, and the hard work of thousands of people dedicated to creating something that would transcend time and immortalize their pharaohs. Underwater treasures. Recovered from the Mediterranean Sea. An entire wing of the museum is dedicated to incredible artifacts recovered from the depths of the Mediterranean Sea in recent decades. When Alexandria, the city founded by Alexander the Great, partially sank due to earthquakes and tsunamis, entire palaces disappeared beneath the waves. Archaeological divers discovered colossal statues, temple columns, sphinxes, and even parts of the famous Lighthouse of Alexandria, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. These objects spent more than 1,500 years submerged, covered by marine sediments that ironically protected them from destruction. The statues recovered from the sea are made of black and red granite, some weighing over 10 tons. A red granite sphinx representing Pharaoh Ptolemy II, Cleopatra's father, was found intact despite centuries underwater. Stone blocks with perfectly preserved hieroglyphs reveal royal decrees and religious texts that were unknown until they were rescued. The salt water dissolved some minerals but created a protective layer that prevented total erosion, allowing these pieces to survive when others on land were destroyed. The process of recovering and preserving these underwater treasures is a complex and delicate science. When objects remain submerged for centuries, they become saturated with salt water and dissolved minerals. Removing them from the water quickly would cause catastrophic cracking as they dry. Therefore, each piece undergoes a desalination process that can take months or even years, being gradually transferred to tanks with decreasing salt concentrations. Only after this meticulous treatment can the artifacts be exposed to air without disintegrating. The underwater exhibit recreates the seabed environment with bluish lighting and wave sounds, transporting visitors to the submerged ruins of Alexandria. Videos of archaeological divers working in the depths show how these discoveries were made, adding drama and context to the experience. Interactive maps allow for virtual exploration of the lost city, seeing where each object was found. This collection proves that countless treasures still await discovery beneath the waters of the Mediterranean, constantly rewriting our understanding of Egyptian history. The library that holds 100,000 books on Egyptology. Within the museum complex is a specialized library that houses the world's largest collection of literature on Egyptology. It comprises over 100,000 volumes, including rare books, original manuscripts from 19th century explorers, reports from archaeological expeditions, and modern scientific publications. Some of these books are centuries old and are works of art in themselves, with hand-drawn illustrations and handcrafted leather bindings. Researchers from all over the world come here to consult documents that exist nowhere else in the world. The library's architecture is impressive, with cedar wood bookshelves that reach the 12-meter-high ceiling. Special escalators provide access to the upper levels, and reading tables are positioned near windows, offering views of the pyramids. The environment is climate-controlled to preserve the ancient books, with a constant temperature of 18 degrees Celsius and 40% humidity. White gloves are mandatory for handling rare works, and special scanners allow delicate pages to be digitized without damaging them. Among the bibliographic treasures is the first edition of the Description de l'Égypte, published by Napoleon after his expedition to Egypt in 1798. This monumental 23-volume set contains detailed illustrations of monuments, many of which have since been destroyed or damaged. Personal diaries of famous archaeologists, such as Howard Carter, discoverer of Tutankhamun's tomb, reveal exciting moments from the excavations. Translated ancient papyri are available in high-quality facsimile versions, allowing students to see exactly what the original texts looked like. The library is not merely a passive repository of knowledge, but an active center for research and education. Regular conferences bring in international experts to present new discoveries and theories. Workshops teach hieroglyphics, Egyptian art history, and archaeological conservation techniques. An ambitious digitization program is scanning the entire collection in high resolution, making it freely available online to anyone in the world. Knowledge about ancient Egypt belongs not only to academics, but to everyone, the entire human race, and this library works to make it accessible to everyone. The huge economic impact for Egypt. The opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum represents an economic revolution for the entire country, not just the tourism sector. Experts estimate that the museum will attract between 5 and 8 million visitors per year, generating billions of dollars in direct and indirect revenue. Each tourist who visits the museum also spends money on hotels, restaurants, transportation, souvenirs, and other services, multiplying the economic impact. The Egyptian government projects that cultural tourism could become the country's main source of foreign exchange, even surpassing the Suez Canal in strategic importance. The construction of the museum created tens of thousands of direct and indirect jobs over 2 decades. From engineers and architects to laborers, electricians, glaziers, and landscapers, thousands of Egyptian families depended on this project for their livelihood. Now that it is operational, the museum permanently employs more than 3,000 people in roles ranging from security guards and tour guides to specialized conservators and researchers. Local communities around Giza are benefiting from infrastructure development that includes new roads, public transportation systems, and modernized power grids. Luxury hotels and resorts are being built in the region to accommodate the expected influx of international tourists. Major hotel chains have invested hundreds of millions of dollars in new developments, betting that the museum will become one of the most visited destinations on the planet. Themed restaurants, shops selling authentic Egyptian handicrafts, and entertainment centers are springing up around the complex. All this economic activity is transforming areas that were once desert-like into vibrant urban zones, raising the standard of living for entire communities. The impact goes beyond traditional tourism, also attracting scientific congresses, international conferences, and corporate events. Technology companies, educational institutions, and cultural organizations want to hold events in such an iconic location. The museum has modern auditoriums equipped for live broadcasts, convention rooms, and spaces for gala dinners overlooking the illuminated pyramids. This diversification ensures consistent revenue even during low tourist seasons, making the project financially sustainable in the long term. Virtual reality that transports you to ancient Egypt. One of the museum's most innovative experiences is the virtual reality zone, which allows visitors to literally walk through Egypt 3,000 years ago. Using state-of-the-art VR glasses and motion controllers, you can explore the interior of the pyramids as they originally were, with walls covered in gold and vibrant paintings. You can enter Cleopatra's palace in Alexandria, participate in a royal banquet, or watch the construction of a temple in real time. The technology is so advanced that you feel the heat of the desert sun and hear the sounds of the crowds in the ancient streets. The virtual environments were recreated with absolute archaeological precision, based on years of research and scientific evidence. Egyptologists consulted game designers and computer graphics specialists to ensure that every detail was historically accurate. The clothes people wear, the food in the markets, the hieroglyphs on the walls, and even the spoken dialects have been authenticated. This is not fantasy or speculation, but a faithful reconstruction of the past based on concrete data. This educational experience is especially powerful for children and young people who learn history in an immersive and exciting way. One of the most popular VR experiences is following a pharaoh's funeral procession from the palace to the tomb. You witness the mummification rituals, the preparation of funerary treasures, and the opening of the mouth ceremony that the Egyptians believed brought the deceased back to life. Priests perform incantations while incense perfumes the virtual air, and hundreds of professional mourners lament in unison. It's a deeply emotional experience that offers insights into the religious beliefs and cultural practices that defined this civilization. Researchers also use this technology to test archaeological theories in virtual environments before excavating real sites. They can simulate different methods of pyramid construction, test ancient trade routes, or recreate historical battles to understand military strategies. Virtual reality is revolutionizing not only how we present history to the public, but also how archaeologists conduct research. The museum offers simplified versions of these experiences online for free, allowing people around the world to explore ancient Egypt without leaving home. Controversies regarding the repatriation of artifacts. The opening of the museum has reignited international debates about Egyptian artifacts that have been in foreign museums for centuries. The Egyptian government is officially demanding the return of iconic pieces such as the Rosetta Stone at the British Museum in London, the bust of Nefertiti at the Neues Museum in Berlin, and tens of thousands of other objects scattered throughout Europe and America. They argue that these treasures were removed during colonial periods without proper permission and belong to the Egyptian people. Now that they have world-class facilities to house and preserve these pieces, there is no longer any justification for keeping them abroad. European museums fiercely resist these demands, claiming they acquired the objects legally according to the laws of the time. They also argue that their museums preserved these pieces, which could have been destroyed by looting, war, or neglect. The British Museum asserts that the Rosetta Stone, fundamental to deciphering hieroglyphs, belongs to humanity and should remain in London where millions can see it for free. The debate is complex, involving legal, ethical, historical, and diplomatic issues that do not have simple answers. Some museums are beginning to voluntarily return certain artifacts as gestures of goodwill and acknowledgement of historical wrongs. Germany recently returned fragments of papyri and small objects, setting important precedents. Other countries, such as France and Italy, have initiated dialogues on long-term loans, where objects remain the property of Egypt but are temporarily displayed abroad. These creative solutions attempt to balance interests of preservation, public access, and historical justice without unpleasant diplomatic confrontations. The issue raises profound philosophical questions about cultural property and humanity's heritage. Do Egyptian artifacts belong exclusively to modern Egypt, or are they the patrimony of all human civilization? Should stolen objects be returned, even if they were acquired centuries ago? How do we balance global access to knowledge with respect for the cultural origins of objects? The Grand Egyptian Museum is at the heart of this debate, proving that Egypt can preserve its heritage with excellence, strengthening arguments for repatriation while inviting the whole world to visit and learn. The future of Egyptology starts now. The Grand Egyptian Museum is not just a repository of the past, but a launching pad for the future of Egyptology. Research laboratories within the complex are equipped with state-of-the-art technology for ancient DNA analysis, carbon dating, mass spectrometry, and genetic sequencing. Scientists are making groundbreaking discoveries about ancient diseases, population migrations, diets, and even reconstructing the climate of ancient Egypt. Each artifact is being digitally documented in ultra-high 3D resolution, creating a permanent digital archive should anything happen to the originals. Artificial intelligence is being used to decipher damaged hieroglyphs and reconstruct fragmented texts on papyrus. Machine learning algorithms analyze patterns in millions of characters, identifying words even when 80% of the text has been destroyed. This technology has already revealed lost medical prescriptions, forgotten love poems, and administrative documents that illuminate mundane aspects of daily life. AI is also helping to identify forgeries among objects of dubious provenance, protecting the integrity of collections. The museum's educational programs are inspiring a new generation of Egyptologists, archaeologists, and conservators. Scholarships allow Egyptian and international students to work directly with artifacts under the supervision of experts. Partnerships with global universities promote knowledge, exchange, and collaboration on research projects. The museum offers free online courses that have already reached millions of people, democratizing access to specialized knowledge that was previously restricted to exclusive academic circles. In the coming years, the museum plans to expand even further, adding wings dedicated to specific historical periods such as Greco-Roman Egypt and the Coptic Christian period. Archaeological excavations continue to uncover new treasures that will require space for proper display. The dream is that every significant Egyptian artifact in the world will eventually return or be represented here, making the museum the definitive center of knowledge about one of the most fascinating civilizations in human history. Egypt's glorious past now has a home worthy of its grandeur, where present and future meet to celebrate timeless achievements. So, what did you think of these incredible facts about the Grand Egyptian Museum? From the spectacle of 5,000 drones illuminating the pyramids to the royal mummies that reveal surprising medical secrets, this place is literally a portal to the past equipped with future technology. Virtual reality transports you inside the palaces of the pharaohs, while artificial intelligence deciphers texts that have been lost for millennia. If you were as impressed as I was, share this video with someone who loves history and the mysteries of ancient Egypt. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell so you don't miss the next videos full of fascinating facts. Leave a comment telling us which fact surprised you the most and if you would travel to Egypt just to visit this incredible museum. That like also really helps YouTube show this content to more people passionate about history and archaeological discoveries. See you in the next video with more mind-blowing facts. Until then,